Welcome to Introvert and Extrovert week of the Front Seat 16. I am Jessica Butts. I'm your host, and I'm super excited to go on this 5-month journey with you to talk about all things Front Seat Life and Myers-Briggs related. And so today and this entire week, I am really covering the basics of introversion and extroversion. There's so many misnomers, mistakes, myths out there about what introversion and extroversion is and the Front Seat Life methodology around the Myers-Briggs content. So let's just jump in. So I've got 7 things that I'm going to cover in as short a period of time as possible. So what introversion and extroversion really is about your source of energy. It's not about how loud you are, how gregarious you are, because I'm actually going to talk about that in a second, that introverts can absolutely be mistaken as extroverts with their really close friends, but really it's about your source of energy. Extroverts give their best energy to other people because they also get their best energy from people. Introverts give and save their best energy for themselves because that's also where they get their best energy, is by recharging. And so an example that I like to think of is wearing your heart on your sleeve. So extroverts, they wear their heart on the outside of their sleeves. In fact, my partner and I were actually just talking about this. He listened to one of my podcast episodes and he was like, "You're exactly like you are at home." And I'm like, yeah, because that is what that is like. It is always about just showing up as your driver of your car. There is no other best self. It is what you are showing to the world. I am giving my best self to other people, which, if you really think about it, as a strong extrovert, that's actually really stupid. I mean, there's no judgment on type, but as a strong extrovert, I always find it fascinating of like, why would I not just save my best self for myself? And there's one of the whole reasons of this is to not pathologize ourselves, to not judge ourselves, to not question why we're not like other people, because type is innate. We just are who we are in this world. So when we go about judging it, of introverts of like, why are you giving your best selves to other people? Or even myself judging myself of why am I giving myself best selves to other people, when that just doesn't, it doesn't seem very logical. But type is innate. We are just who we are, and we've got to understand this source of energy. So back to the heart on the sleeve. Introverts wear their heart on the inside of their sleeve, meaning they have to invite energetically and sometimes quite literally invite people to get close to them in order to see their true selves. So where extroverts wear their heart on the outside of their sleeve, the outside world is actually getting that best self because they're giving it away. Introverts are saving it for themselves and for those that they invite in. It does not mean extroverts can force themselves on these people. They have to literally invite them in. My very best friend is a very strong introvert, and it took a long time for her to trust me and to kind of let me in. I mean, we would take walks even as being very good friends for many years, and I could tell it just takes her a little while to kind of warm up and want to dive into our really intense topics. And that's because she's feeling it out, right? She's deciding, am I letting this person in? So it might not just be an evening, right? You show up at a party and expect this introvert to let you in, and it's like, no. Your energy is possibly not welcome here. And so there is this invitation, and then so they save that for themselves and those that they allow in. Which leads me to my next point, which is extroverts typically have a breadth of interest and a breadth of friends, meaning they've got a whole bunch of friends, a whole bunch of interests, and introverts will have a depth. So they only have a few interests and a few friends, but they are much, much, much deeper. So extroverts, you may see being kind of social butterflies because they get energy from doing that. However, this is my next point. Let's debunk the myth of an ambivert. There is technically no such thing as an ambivert because everybody is both partially introverted and extroverted. This is really important. So people say, well, I'm a little bit of both. And the reality is everybody is a little bit of both, because in my book, Don't Do Stuff You Suck At, I show you a car analogy, which is the Frontseatlife methodology, in that the driver and the Copilot make up your very best self. This is 80% of where you should be spending your energy. This is your best self. This is what you're giving to the world. This is how you're making a difference in this world. This is where you make money. This is your happiness. This is your innateness. And if anybody wants to know how to find their car, just simply go to jessicabutts.com, and the assessment right below it is something you can take for free. And so in the car, if you are an extrovert, your driver is extroverted. However, your Copilot, which is equally as important. So this is where the ambivert thing comes from. Your front seat, which is 80% of your time, is divided between two people in the front seat. One is extroverted and one is introverted. So my clients oftentimes will, make the mistake of like, oh, I thought I was an extrovert, meaning why I feel like, why am I not extroverted all the time? And that's not true. It's this balance of 50-50. Those two people make up your best self. For example, ENFJs. Their driver is extroverted feeling. They're out in the world, helping people, building relationships, building connections, community, that kind of thing. Their Copilot, equally important, is introverted intuitive, which is all these ideas. Not very much collaborating, really a visionary in their life or their business. They have tons of ideas. Where are we going? What's next? How can I better our family? How can I better this? These two people make up the best self of that person. So it's extroverted and it's introverted. And the same is true for the opposite. So if your driver, meaning if you are introverted, you also have an extroverted part of you, and that is super important. So one other last thing I want to talk about before I let you go is introverts are internal processors. They need time to process information. They need to know the agenda before the meeting. They need time to think about what they would like to say, because extroverts are external processors. They are people who talk about things loudly, not loudly, but in the moment. That's a better word for it. They want to talk about things in the moment. They are better at that kind of banter. So like if you're in a corporate America setting, or even, have a team and half of your team is introverted, they need time to go away from that meeting and to think about what their response is to get the best out of them. A population differential of introverts and extroverts is 50-50. It's split right down the middle. So what we do as human beings is we assume everybody is like us. And obviously that is not true. So we've got to learn how to put our own oxygen mask on first, whether in our lives or our businesses or in our careers, so that we can understand who we are and then be in better relationship with other people. And also then learn how to speak other people's language, our partner, our coworkers, our team, our kids, to be able to understand how they function so that we don't project all of our stuff onto them, but we are truly, truly listening to who they are, and we can learn how to get the best out of them. Okay, there's so much more to go. Thank you for watching. Please share this with anybody that may need to hear this. And I will see you next week for Sensing and Intuition. Thanks so much. Bye.